Hey, what's up, everyone? Whether you're watching live or on the replay, welcome to part 3 of this little series here where I am covering one of my favorite songs by one of my favorite bands, THRICE. And the whole reason I'm doing this is really just for fun. I was going to do it anyway. It's been so long since I've really just done something in the studio just purely for fun. And then I thought, I always made the biggest breakthroughs in terms of learning how to track, edit, mix professionally by just watching a pro who was 3, 4, 20 steps ahead of me, just being able to look over the shoulder and see what they're doing, see what decisions they're making, see how an actual pro caliber production comes together little bit by bit every stage of the way. And so I thought, why don't I just live stream the whole process, super casual here. I've already got the drums, the MIDI drums down. We're going to finalize those today. We track the guitars, we track the bass, and then after the last stream, I was kind of waiting for some vocals to come in. So a number of you guys, maybe if you're watching this today, maybe not, sent in some vocal takes, which is great. I checked those out. Obviously, I can't use everyone's vocals, so what I've done is I've kind of picked 3 guys who submitted some tracks, and then I'm kind of doing a mashup of all of them. So we've got a little bit of like a triple feature vocal situation. So I'll show you guys what I landed on there, and if you haven't been following along from the start, then feel free to watch this and then go back and check out part 1 and 2, and then of course after this we'll carry on all the way to the final mix, and I'll just show you every step of the way. So definitely jump in the chat if you got any questions as we go along here. What I plan on doing today is kind of moving towards a mix ready situation. So that's going to mean just kind of diving back into the stuff we already tracked and just cleaning up any edits and punch-ins. Like you notice I like to work fast as we're tracking, so that means like I'm not crossfading and double checking every edit as we're tracking guitar and bass. So we're going to dive into that and show you just the process that I use for that today. We're going to go back through the drum MIDI and just make sure we're happy with that. Tweak any velocities, any kind of timing stuff there just to make it sound nice and realistic, but also still, powerful. And then we'll get into vocals, and we'll do some vocal tuning with some vocal editing, show you guys exactly what it takes there. So today's stream is definitely more on the kind of technical side. A lot of editing, a lot of just fine-tuning stuff, but I think it's important to show you this. This is something that you don't get a whole lot on YouTube, because it's just, who's going to click? You're probably not going to get a ton of clicks and views if it's just like, watch me editing vocals and guitars. But I know if you're watching this right now, you do care about that stuff. You need to see that. Like that's the one step that's kind of left out a lot. Same with tracking, but especially editing. Like no one really dives in and shows you exactly how that is done behind the scenes at a high level, and kind of what the decision process is and how much you're using your ears versus relying on pitch tools and timing tools or whatever. So let's dive into that. It's not the most sexy thing, but it's super important. Like every major record that you're listening to out there, this stuff is being done. So let's dive in. We'll show you where I'm at. Let me share the screen. I'll give you guys a little teaser on the vocals. So off the top here, this is actually a buddy of mine that I used to be in bands in, like through high school. Haven't talked to him forever, but he's got like a perfect voice for this. Great singer, great character to his voice. His name's Justin. And I asked him, like, man, do you think you would, I know he's a THRICE fan. We used to cover THRICE songs like as a band back in high school. I was like, man, do you think you could just throw down some vocals for this? So he tracked it, sent it over. Then we got some audience submissions here for the second half. This is Matt. Thanks, Matt, for sending that in. And then we got some from Joseph as well, some screams and some other parts that we're going to use. So I'll give you a little teaser on that, and then we'll kind of dive into just final edits and fine-tuning.
Lights that pass
sorry guys. We'll stop it there anyway. A little preview on the vocals. I think it turned out pretty great. I don't know if you guys had me there while I was switching buffer settings. But yeah, that's a little teaser on the vocals. I think it turned out pretty good. We needed some help with the editing, but we'll get there. So let me start going through the drums. So I kind of tweaked a lot of the, you know, dynamics, velocity as we went along here, because I like stuff sounding like a finished project as much as possible as we're tracking. But, you know, balancing that with working with speed, right? Not getting too much in the weeds. So for this intro section, definitely brought the velocity way down on these. We don't want the drums to be, you know, slamming in a nice kind of spacey ambient section like this. So we'll listen through. I think I'm pretty happy with how this sounds, but we'll see if anything needs to be changed. Sounds a bit heavy. Yeah. Get a little bigger on that last crash. So you'll notice on this kick and snare, I've got the velocity kind of down on these fast double kicks here. Sounds a little more like what a real drummer would play versus, I'll just give you the AB. Like if we just had this maxed all at 127. I mean, it sounds good, but like no drummer is going to be hitting like the hardest rim shot and the hardest kick on every hit on a beat that fast, right? So just to make it a little more realistic, we do like this. That feels already worked out dynamically. Same thing here. I gotta fill this fast. The drummer's not gonna hit every hit of those 16th notes like, you know, at the same hard velocity, right? That sounds pretty good. Now I know this is a part I wanted to fix. You can hear the ride is like jumping out every bar. It's just because I had copy and pasted MIDI and the velocity is just a bit wrong. It's like the 1 on every beat is a bit weird. So where am I at here? This is it's about 110, so let's just all these. 110. Actually, I think they're a little hotter than that. Try 113. Same thing here. Even those toms are a bit crazy. Yeah, this little fill here, I've already worked it out, but you can see just trying to make it really dynamic like a real drummer, right? You know, it's not, you know, it'd be really stupid to do something like this, right? But, you know, we've got like the hard shots with the ghost in between, and then it's gradually building up towards the end here. And man, Nolly and team did an awesome job on Modern Massive 2. With the realism and the dynamics. We're getting a question here. Ginter saying, do you leave drums perfectly on grid or randomize the timing? For the most part, perfectly on grid. There's one little trick I'm going to show you guys, which I've only ever shown inside one of my courses in the past that has to do with that, but we'll get to that in a few minutes. So even here, I've already gone through like where we do this little double kick part here. Bringing down the velocity on those just like a natural drummer would. I don't know about this part. Wonder if we do 2 toms. It'd be more like this. Like a flam. I don't know. Kind of want the cymbals to keep going. Yeah, I guess you would still do that as a drummer. Pablo's asking, was it recorded on a MIDI kit or manually drawn? It was not on a MIDI kit. What I did was, I don't know if you guys can see this guy here. This is like a little, it's called the Korg Nano Key. I think they have a new version which looks a lot cooler than this. This is really old. But I just plug this thing in, and I just like, you know, just kind of kick and snare, like, you know, just get the kind of skeleton in there with that, because I just find that faster than drawing it all in. And then once I kind of have the basic notes in there, then I'll work with the mouse and kind of just draw on any missing parts, copy and paste stuff, things like that. Good. Okay, so I think we could work on the dynamics of these toms here. Now, what are we at now? So if we do, let's keep it around there, do a little bit of randomize. It's getting a bit too low there. That sounds a lot better. Now the snare flams. So if you've ever seen the waveform of when a real drummer hits a flam like that, the first transient is always a bit quieter than the second one. So we'll try to mimic that. Something like that sounds pretty good. Now I think we could randomize these cymbals a bit too. That's good, but we got to make sure on the downbeat is a loud hit. I want this to be a flam. Come on. Probably do it the opposite way. Oh, now that I hear it, I'm not really loving that flame. Let's keep it a single hit. Gotta hear that in context. Lots of vocals here. Just mute that. Okay, cool. So not many changes there, but it's important to go through everything, right? There are a couple cymbal hits I want to change, a couple things that I just forgot to draw in there before, a couple ideas I wanted to try. Some I kept, some I didn't. But definitely make sure you're going through things a final time to catch any little detail at all. Sometimes these little things you wouldn't really notice or think matter, but it's all these tiny things that just stack up over the entire process that really kind of help it either go over that line to sounding really professional or kind of keep it a little amateur. So what I do with the kick and snares for the most part, have it all perfectly locked in the grid, and this is what I would do on a normal live drum kit. So that's something to point out too, is my mindset when I'm working with MIDI drums is I'm trying to mimic obviously what a real drummer would do and what I would do producing real drum tracks. So in that case with the kick and snare and toms, I would hard quantize them to the grid in almost every single case. Those are 100% on the grid. I don't mess around with this, 95% quantize, 80% quantize. I won't get into the weeds of why that really doesn't work. Just don't do it. Like the records that you hear, the thing that people are used to hearing is 100% quantized to the grid. Now, with that said, the difference with MIDI drums is like you have everything, right? So if the drummer's hitting like kick and snare and cymbals, and they're hitting the kick and cymbals at the same time, on MIDI you have those literally hitting at the exact same time. Whereas on a real drummer, they're gonna hit a tiny bit off, right? And so even though you're quantizing the kick or the snare rate on the grid, the cymbal hit is probably not exactly right there with it. And so that's a little hack that I've done in the past, which I'll do now, is grab all the cymbals. Sorry for that sound there. And then I'll go into the quantize menu here. Where is it? Yeah, that's it. And then we hit randomize. And I think we'll try like 15%. Now, if we go to kind of a faster section here. Ooh, I didn't get the hi-hats. Okay, that's okay. I'll remember to come back to that. Now, if we look at this, every single ride cymbal hit is on the grid here, right? Now, if we've got randomized 15%, we hit apply, these shift just like ever so slightly. And I don't want it to be a lot. You see how this one gets a little bit late? This one gets a bit early. That's what I'm looking for. I don't want it to be like something that you really notice, but it does kind of make a difference on the feel. So here's without. And now with. To me, that makes a difference, and it's very subtle. Maybe you don't hear it. I can just hear like sometimes, I hear like a little bit of a click of the transient of the cymbal a little bit before or a little bit after the snare hit. And to me, that just brings a tiny little extra degree of realism to it. So I just didn't get the hi-hat here. Do that as well. Something weird happened there. It's because I had a triplet. Okay, cool. I think that's pretty solid for drums at this point. So we'll just kind of close those up. Now, what I would do at this stage too is I would do a multi-out of all these, and before I mix it, I'm going to bounce down everything to multi-track format out of this, and I'll disable all of the plugins and processing that I have in this. So I'm just getting raw kick, snare, toms out on all its separate tracks. I won't spend time doing that. I think it seems like this plugin's a little buggy when it comes to routing out all those tracks in Pro Tools, so I'm going to have to kind of spend some time, twisting its arm to get it to do what I want. So I won't waste time on the stream with that, but by the time I go to actually do the final mix, that will all be broken out, and you guys will see that, kick, snare, toms, all separate as if it was a live recorded drum kit. All right, so let's move on to bass. Now, when you're editing kind of bass and guitars and checking the punch-ins and edit points on a DI track, it's hard because you don't see like the pick attack, right? you only see the transient, but that like fraction of a second, couple milliseconds where the pick is like scraping across the string before the note rings out, like this is where the note rings out. This is where the note rings. You can't even see on a DI track, but you can see on an AM track is the pick attack, and that's what makes it sound real. If you cut out all the pick attack, it just sounds like you're playing a keyboard, right? So you can even hear the pick attack on this bass. Whereas I would just cut it here. Hopefully you guys can hear that. So basically what I'm going to do here is just kind of listen through to all the edits. This is all one take. This is all fine. So like right here. Now we want this to cut right on that snare. Just making sure I'm crossfading all the parts where I punched in here. Notice how I'm not concerned with going through and making sure every transient is on the grid. I already made those decisions while I was tracking the bass, both with my ears mostly, a little bit with my eyes, making sure things are on time. But when it comes to guitar and bass, like once I'm listening in the context with drums, tracking, playing along, like I will always defer to my ear. So even if something looks like, you know, oh, this is transient's like a little bit late on this bar here, but as I'm listening, it sounds and feels right, I'm just going to leave it. I'm not going to go in and quantize everything with guitar and bass. So we'll go and cut out all the silences here. Cool, there's no more punch-ins there. So that's cool, I'm happy with that. Now in this intro, ever since the last live stream, I did add some MIDI instruments here. So I added an organ. I love this. This thing sounds great. It covers all the organ sounds you could want, I think. This is just the one that comes with Pro Tools. And then I added this piano, electric piano. Just like a really soft kind of pad. This is also just one of the Pro Tools plugins. And then I added this as kind of just a slightly buzzy synth bass. I'll take all those instruments out so you can hear it. It's pretty empty, right? So we're just trying to fill in the gaps there. just need to cut off the notes on the snare hit at the end here. And I threw that in the second half of the verse here. And then threw that organ and the MIDI bass in at the very end. And I think I'm kind of fine with all of these. I don't really want to mess around with them anymore, so I'm just going to commit them down to audio. I really don't like working with MIDI, so as much as I can, I try to get things down to audio. For like project recall, there's been a number of times where, well, not really anymore, but early on in my career, early days, like I would have productions and I would just leave it as MIDI with live MIDI instruments, and then 3 years later, I'd go to recall that session, and I'd upgraded computers, I'd moved all these things, and some instrument wasn't compatible anymore. I didn't have it installed, and so then I'd have to go to install the whole instrument again just to recall. But if you always put things down to audio before you do the final mix, then you don't have to worry about that stuff. Plus, it takes up less of your computer resources. Let's make sure these are all out. Mix bus. Cool. Now we'll just go through the guitars. Same thing as the bass, just making sure all the edits are clean. Don't like how this one's a bit early. See, that's actually pretty early there. So let's fix that. So I will do some minor nudging here and there when I catch something. But always double check it with your ears in context. Push this edit back here. This needs to come back a touch. Cool. Main guitars. So you can really hear the pick scrape there. Yeah, Darren is saying, I love the sound of that metal guitar. Me too, man. I was struggling with that using my Gibson, trying to get that intro down, and then borrowed a Telecaster. I don't know if you saw the other stream, but borrowed a Tele from my brother-in-law, and it just came to life. It just sounded so much better. And that's another tip, is like when you're struggling to get something to sound the way you want, oftentimes these days, like with so many plugins and tools, we'll be like, all right, I'll use this plugin, or I'll try this plugin, and I'll do this and that, and I'll add this effect. And I admit I'm guilty of that. But I've learned that oftentimes when you get into that situation, usually you just need to change the instrument. You need to use a different snare, you need to use different cymbals, you need to grab a different guitar. And as soon as I grabbed that Tele and plugged it in instead, it was like, boom, oh yeah, that's the sound. That's what I wanted. So rather than struggle the whole time with the Gibson, you plug in this Tele and it's boom, it's exactly what you want. So you should always try to think like in the order of kind of impact, where it's like the player and the instrument is going to be the highest impact changes that you make. So right there, you can see the pick attack was a bit cut off. It's a bit early too. That was a bit early. Yeah, Evan's asking, what are you using for the distorted tone? So I'm actually using an unreleased plugin. Right now it's labeled JV Tones. And this is a tone that I modeled after this tone on one of the Silverstein records that I did. So it's a JCM 800, I believe, with like 2 mics blended, a 57 and a Royer ribbon. And it's a really great tone for this. This plugin probably won't be released in this form, but we are planning on releasing a collection of amp tones through BSA that will be really based on my taste, which will be heavily influenced kind of past records and classic amps that I've used all the time, 5150s, JCM 800, AC30s for cleans, 2x12, Mesa Cab with V30s with the 57, that kind of thing. Big time buzz there. Probably when I get to mix time, I'll just fade that out. And I'm not using the Telos Guitars plugin yet on this, but I will be using it at mix time. Let me see if I can just auto crossfade these rather than... Nope. Create new crossfades. So again, I just want to make sure I'm not losing too much of that pick attack. Yeah, it's a bit off time. Yeah, we'll cut the silence here. And you want to make sure when you're cutting the ends, like, I don't want to cut it hard, like, before the end of the waveform, you know? It's going to sound a bit fake if you listen to this. Right? You want to look at where the waveform ends, and again, it's a little easier if you have an amp track. But even with DI, you can see I want to have some of the sound of me muting the string. I mean, even that's a bit aggressive. Whoop. Hitting the wrong keys here. There we go. Okay, I'm positive that I just copy and pasted that. So let's not do the same work twice. Paste that. Do a little bit of an auto crossfade here as well. Save me some time. So you can see that I rushed on the right side here a bit. Okay, cool. Zoom in here. I'm going to listen to it with the rhythms because it's kind of like one guitar part. Now, I wonder if I can go nudge this one back a bit. Yeah, it's a bit better. Getting picky now. Yeah, classic deal is asking when these plugins are coming out. Telos Bass and the Amp Tone plugin. We don't have a timeline on those, unfortunately. It should be by the end of this year. Well, the Guitar Tone might be into next year, but Telos Bass we are planning to release by the end of this year. There's just a few tech issues we're having with the amp sims. I think I explained this on a previous live stream, but it's like, you know, I've been using it for like months already, and it's fine, you know. But as you go through the test process, it's like it's rock solid for me. Then, you know, some random user with like some random combination of computers and hardware and DAW, like and sample rate or whatever, like it crashes it, and then you know you spend like 50 to 80% of your time developing a plugin just chasing after these bugs that only but they take a bunch of time to really track down and squash. So that's where we're at with it now. But we got some other stuff coming down the pipeline soon as well, so don't worry. Let me just copy and paste this part. Cool, I'll listen back here. This is a bit rushed, so is that one. So just this little bit of extra cleanup, guys, just helps a lot. It's just that extra attention to detail in all stages and all ways is often a big part of the difference between kind of amateur sounding stuff and something that's professional. Okay, cool. So I've still got the lead guitar. Looks like I already have crossfades in most of this. Since I've already been doing the guitar stuff for a little while, guys, I'm going to leave that. I think you get the point now. I'll do that on my own after. We'll go ahead and start tuning vocals, and I'll do a bit of that before we end this stream, and I'll finish the rest on my own. I don't think you need to see me do the same thing, 50 times. A couple times is sufficient to get the point of what the workflow is. So yeah, you're asking about Telos vocals. I think it literally is inserted on this track because you're right. Once you start using these Telos plugins, it's like, okay, I could have 3 or 5 plugins on my vocal to get the sound I want, or I could just use this one plugin. It's so fast and it's so easy, and it sounds great. So I'm gonna just leave that on. I'm not gonna open it up today in this stream because we do have a kind of more of a sneak peek reveal planned like really soon through BSA. So I'm gonna not ruin that plan because I know the other guys are working hard on that. So I'm gonna keep it closed, but you are hearing it. I'll let you do an A/B here.
So strange, I remember you in protest of a prayer and falling back from seas we feel. So strange, I remember you in protest of a prayer and falling back from seas we feel.
So there's a lot of room reverb on this vocal track.
So strange, I remember you in protest of a.
So when you get the heavy compression on, you really hear it. I just got this plugin today. Decided I'll spend $50. Why not? Try to get rid of the room sound. This is the Waves D reverb.
So strange, I remember you in protest of a prayer and falling back from seas we fear to sail.
Actually works quite well, but I do hear like a little bit of phasing on like the consonants and S's and even breaths. Sounds a bit weird, but I think the trade-off is worth it because we get a lot of that nasty room sound in there. So vocal tuning. Now, this is my friend Justin's vocal contribution. He sent like 3 to 4 takes for every line. So I already went through and comped the best parts. Now the challenge here is timing, and this is a tricky song to nail the timing on just because of the way the beat is. Even I was messing around with just singing along with it and generating some AI vocals, which is kind of cool. It's the first time I tried that, and I'm quite impressed by it. Here, I'll show you what the AI vocal that I got was. This is based on me just like singing a rough take and then feeding it into this AI vocal generator.
So strange, I remember you in protest of a prayer, falling back from seas with fear to sail. Swear I saw the shooter go deep and a double dare. Postmodern warning seem inclined to fail.
It's pretty amazing. But still, like, the crazy thing is that I found that the AI generator, I think this one I used is called Audimee, Audimee, quite good. I was really impressed with it. But it really will like copy all the inflection and kind of attitude and character that you sing with. And that's me. I'm just not a professional singer. You know, I can hit pitch roughly enough for that, throw Autotune on it, submit that to the AI, and it gives me something like this, which sounds pretty polished. But I just don't have like the vibe. If you listen to Justin's take here, it just got like, I don't know, good singers, experienced singers, they just have like that attitude, that kind of feeling that they put behind it, you know? Whereas the one that I sang and turned into AI is very kind of just straight.
So strange, I remember you in protest of a prayer, falling back from seas we fear to sail. I swear I saw the shooter go deep and a double dare. Postmodern warning seem inclined to fail.
Cool. So anyways, what we'll do first is kind of go through and clean up timing and then edits at the same time. Then we'll tune.
So strange, I remember you in protest of a prayer.
So the first part drags a little bit.
So strange, I remember you. So strange, I remember you in protest of a prayer.
See, the whole thing kind of drags. Let's try that.
So strange, I remember you in protest of a prayer, and falling back from seas air, and falling back.
So you got to check in solo because see how, you know, these are two different takes and the breath out and the breath in, they were fading at the wrong time, right? So you got to make sure you clean that up.
A prayer, and falling back from seas we fear, falling back from seas.
Okay.
Falling back from seas we fear to sail. I swear I saw the shooter.
With vocals, you can't rely on the grid lines too much to figure out timing. You really got to just listen.
I swear I saw the shooter go deep.
This one's going to be a bit challenging.
I swear I saw the shooter go deep and a double.
S's, these big long S here, that's a good place to comp vocals.
The shooter go deep and a
See if we can squeeze some space here.
the shooter go deep and a double. The shooter go deep and a double dare. I swear I saw the shooter go deep and a double dare.
And what I want to do is try to edit just by cutting and moving stuff around manually as much as possible. If I have to, I'll get into like the elastic audio moving stuff, but I'll do that after I tune because I don't want to create artifacts by shifting timing around and then put auto-tune onto artifacts. You know what I mean? I'd rather do the tuning, like manual time adjustment here, so I'm not affecting the audio quality. Then I do the auto-tune. Then if I still need, like in 99% of cases, especially if I was engineering it myself, like we wouldn't have anything else because I would make sure the takes were the right timing. But if a lot of cases when I'm getting sent stuff, you just need to do this because maybe someone just hasn't put that much attention to detail of the timing in. Then after, I'll do any elastic audio just to minimize the artifacts with time changing.
I swear I saw the shooter go deep and a double dare. Teeth and a double dare. Postmodern warning seem.
Make sure timing's good there.
I swear I saw the shooter go deep and a double dare. Postmodern
I think timing on vocals is like kind of overlooked.
dare. Postmodern dare. Postmodern.
Like for me, if I'm producing and tracking with a singer, I will always choose a take that is more in time versus one that is more in pitch. because pitch I can easily change. Timing, I find you get more artifacts. It's a little harder to edit after the fact. And I just think it has so much to do with how it feels and the vibe of it. Cool, now we go to Matt's vocals here, but I'll keep going on Justin's.
And they just like that cathedrals that are and they just like that cathedrals that are crumbling.
So this will be a tough one. This one I might have to elastic audio after the fact. See if I can get away with this.
And they just like that cathedrals that are
Move that part back a bit too.
and they just like that cathedrals that are crumbling beneath their cathedrals that are crumbling beneath their cathedrals that are crumbling beneath their weight.
Oops.
That are crumbling. That cathedrals that are crumbling beneath their weight. That are crumbling beneath their weight. Are crumbling beneath their weight. 10,000 jaded tourists who traded in their that are crumbling beneath their weight. 10,000
I really moved this one around a lot, I think.
that are crumbling beneath their weight.
I'm using like the B consonant from one take into the next.
That are crumbling beneath their wheels that are crumbling beneath their weight.
It's tough. It's tough.
That are crumbling beneath their weight. Crumbling beneath their weight.
Well, that's better.
That are crumbling beneath their weight. 10,000 jaded
Let's move this 10 back a bit.
beneath their weight. 10,000 jaded tourists who traded in their beneath their weight. 10,000 jaded tourists. 10,000 jaded tourists. 10,000 jaded tourists who traded in their hearts and hands for tourists beneath their weight. 10,000 jaded tourists who traded in their hearts and hands. Who traded in their hearts and
And I don't necessarily cut out every breath. I kind of like having breaths in.
hands. Who traded in. Who traded in their hearts and hands for disposable
This all needs to come back.
tourists. Who traded in their hearts and hands for disposable.
This I'll have to edit with elastic audio.
Traded in their hearts and hands for disposable cameras set to die. Their hearts and hands for disposable cameras set to hands for disposable cameras set
Yeah, all that can be nudged.
hands for disposable cameras set to document decay. Disposable cameras set to cameras set to
Can we get away with that?
cameras set to
Yeah.
cameras set to document decay. Document decay. Document cameras set to document decay.
Yeah, like I guess Alex agreed in the chat here, but like listen to the style on this.
Document decay. Document.
Document, it's like versus, the AI that mimicked me. Let me see. Whoops.
Document decay. Document decay.
It's on pitch and it's straight and it's on time, but then the vibe here,
Document decay.
way cooler, right?
Document decay.
And that's another thing when you're tracking vocals. Like, yes, you need to hit a certain threshold of pitch and timing. Timing, I favor over pitch, like I said. But then there's also like the character. What's the feeling of it? Does it sound interesting the way they've delivered the performance? That's also important too.
Document decay. Said to capture just enough of life to.
This is really early.
Said to capture decay. Said to capture.
Probably gonna have to cut the breath there just so that I can edit it enough.
Set to capture just enough of life to count. Set to capture just enough decay. Set to capture just enough of life. Set to capture just enough of life to count. Set to capture just enough of life.
This is tedious, but man, it pays off. Yeah, it gets a bit rushed. This one might be weird. Hopefully it works. Let's see.
The things we throw away.
I'm going to use the AI vocal just on this one line here. Cool, and we got the ending for Justin. This is, I probably should have done this in a lower key because I think all the singers had a hard time hitting these notes at the end. That's really late. I'm hoping with some manual tuning there we'll smooth out the pitch on that one. Oh, that's a tough edit.
Words of the dead. Words of the dead.
Probably need to just elastic audio that after.
Words of the dead ring in our ears. Words of the dead ring in our ears. Ring in our ears. Ring in our ears. Ring in our ears. Put a soul alive. Place in your head. Place in put a soul alive.
Yeah, Max, no worries, man. You know, I probably had like 7 to 10 different submissions. I didn't want to have 7 to 10 singers on it, so I just kind of chose, you know, who I thought sung it best, and then also kind of some submissions were like there was too much room noise, or maybe they were too tuned when they sent to me without, like, I think they needed to be tuned in more detail. So, you know, there's a few things like that, but I am using your guitar noise. I think, was that you, Max? Your guitar noise effects in the guitar lead up? Where did that go? Oh, no, it wasn't. It was Marvin. Sorry. Same M name. But, yeah, no worries, man. Appreciate your time. not too worried about the perfection of this end part because I think I'm gonna stack so it sounds almost like more like a group thing, pan it out, and then have that really sick guitar lead up the middle. So it's almost like the vocals at the end here aren't the focal point, and kind of having some cleaner songs, some really kind of dirty like this one, and then there's some screams that some people did. That will probably add up well. Cool, that's good for Justin's vocal. Man, we're already more than an hour in here. So I'll kind of just go through my tuning process with you guys. And like I said, I'll probably end the stream before I get to finishing up all the vocals here. But once you've seen the process once, you know that that's just what I'm doing for all the other vocals, right? So I am still an Autotune guy. I don't think you necessarily have to... Let me just clear what I had here. I think Melodyne is cool these days. Back when I really was settling into my workflow and tools of choice and everything, Melodyne, like, it was easier to use interface-wise, but you lost high end. Like, it literally just filtered off high end off the vocal, and so I didn't like that. And I found that once I got used to using Autotune like this, it's a bit weird to get used to, but I found it just gave a cleaner, better tuning result. So that's kind of why I got committed and kind of stuck with this. I'm just going to duplicate this playlist. Yeah, so that's why I use Autotune. So what I do is I just use it for pitch, not for pitch and time. I actually have never tried adjusting timing inside Autotune. For speed, I'm not going to try and learn something new right now. So we'll hit track pitch, and we play it. Cool, and I work in small sections like that, and then I'll kind of bounce that down. Now, when it comes to actually tuning, well, I have all my settings seem to have disappeared. Okay, there we go. So how it works is you kind of you draw a line. I need to adjust this though. I want it to get rid of these notes here. It wasn't giving me that before. How did I get rid of that? There we go. So basically you see where it should be, and then you draw the line, and the trick is to not touch like the heads and tails. Like, see, the start of this word is like up, but I'm just getting like the meat of the tone that needs to be on key. That to me sounds a lot more natural than just kind of snapping the whole note. And the harder you do that, obviously you get more of the T-Pain effect. I don't like how this drops flat at the end. So you just go through like this. Now this one still seems a bit flat, so we'll do that a bit harder. It's better. I've got the default retune speed set to 30 here, so it's not crazy aggressive. Why is this bugging out on me? It helps to, you know, finish a whole section and then listen back, because sometimes, like, the way one note sounds is affected by the note before it, you know? So try to kind of go through roughly like this. Now this kind of trails off a lot at the end, so I'll just tune like the straight part there. And we'll let him kind of trail off there. I might pull this up a little bit. Some parts I still don't really like here. That's decent, actually. Any of you guys in the chat, do you guys use Autotune like this? I feel like this is old school. Like people do it another way now.
And falling back from
Ooh, we got something weird there.
And falling back from seas we fear to sail. And falling back from seas. And falling back from seas. And falling back from. And falling back from seas.
Let's see if that works.
And falling back from. And falling back from.
Oh wait, I don't even want that to go down. Yeah, that's better. I think that could be a little straighter. Cool. No one? No other Autotune graph tuner? Ooh, that's a little. Let's see how that works. Yeah, it works all right, actually. Let's fix that one. There we go. All right, so if no one's using Autotune, what are you guys using? Melodyne? Nope, that's not it. So I've tuned that section. What I'll do now is I'll just listen back through it.
So strange, I remember you in protest of a prayer, falling back from seas we fear to sail. I swear I saw the shooter, gold teeth, and a double dare. Those smiling warnings seem inclined to fail.
I like that. I think that sounds good. So then the easiest way to commit this is I'll go copy settings. Then I'll open up the audio suite version, paste settings. Oh, don't crash, don't crash. Hopefully you guys can still hear me while this is hanging here. I'll give it a few more seconds. I tested this before the stream. It worked fine. Oh, man, if Pro Tools crashes and I have to restart, you guys are not going to hear me. So apologies for that. Come on, this was not happening. Okay, guys, sorry about that. Give me 1 second. I hope I saved that. Check, check. Can you guys hear me now? Okay. I was saying this, this brings me back to the days where I was like, producing, tracking all the time and then tuning vocals and making edits, and then all of a sudden it would crash, and then I'd go back and be like, oh no, the last like 4 minutes of work I didn't save. But we'll see where we're at here. Where was my last... So my last save was at 313. Yeah, crap, I was not saving. Let's see. My last session file backup was 322. I've got it set to auto-save every minute. So we'll see how much I have to redo, and then we'll try to process that again. If it crashes again, we'll have to print instead of audio suite. Just loading up still, guys. While we're waiting, guys, any questions on the vocal workflow here? I think it's pretty straightforward. All right, we're back in Pro Tools. Now you guys are going to hear me twice. Okay, now it should be okay audio-wise. Let's see where we landed at.
So strange, I remember you in protest of a prayer, falling back from seas we fear to sail. I swear I saw the shooter, gold teeth, and a double dare. Those smiling warnings seem inclined to fail. So strange, I remember you in protest of a prayer, falling back from seas we fear to sail. I swear I saw the shooter go.
It's like missing half the data. Ah, that sucks. Okay. Yeah, that's weird. My first line is there.
So strange, I remember you in protest of a prayer, falling back from seas we fear to sail.
Then it's like all the other tracked vocals are just not even there. I don't know what's up with that. That's the one thing I will complain about with Autotune is it seems like, back in the day, Autotune 4, 5, 6, like rock solid. It seems like every time I update, now it's Autotune Pro, it's like I get all these bugs like this. So, yeah, that sucks. Hey, this is real life, right? Live stream session. Let me save. Oh, maybe I didn't open the backup. Give me a second, guys. Gotta let Modern Massive load up here. Okay, I think on the session backup, I have all the... Sorry, you might be hearing me twice. I think on the session backup, we have all of the vocals tuned. Yeah, sorry guys. You should be... My vocals should not be doubled anymore, right? I think we're good. Okay, so the session backup saved my life there. Let's save that. Let me give this one more go, guys. Okay. Copy settings. Paste settings. No. All right. Screw that. Can you? There we go. Disaster here. Okay. So yeah, Max said, if you track this vocal, where would you break up the takes to get pitch and time tighter? So it's not a set rule. It depends on the song, depends on the singer. But generally, I'll try to get like one line. So probably we'd do like, so strange I remember you in protest of a prayer. There, I would just tell the singer to sing that much. And then I don't like doing like multiple takes and then comping later. I like to just, I call it comp on the fly. And so, you know, I'll get the singer to sing that part. We'll do it a few times until it's like quite good. Hopefully we can just get a take that whole part is great and we're happy with it. And I'm like, I don't need to hear anything else. That's the performance. We move on. And that way you don't have to like go back and go through, you know, I think it's sucks so much, like spending 2 hours tracking vocals for a song and then spending another hour like going through all the takes again. Like, make a dang decision. Like, you know whether it's good or not. And it's like, that's really where it comes into your instinct and your feel. It's like, if I hear that part, if I hear the line, it's like, either I like it, either it's a keeper or it's not. And so if I like it, it's like, okay, let's go. We'll commit to it. And then sometimes there's a little bit of punching though. Like, let's say, so I remember you in protest of a prayer. Let's say like the last two words, like protest of a prayer. Maybe I wanted of a prayer. I wanted to get a little better, but I love the rest of it. Then I would just tell the singer like, okay, let's do that again. And I would just punch in. I get him to sing the whole part, but I would just punch in on those three words. And we do that until we got that. And then we've got the full take. Boom, it's done. Then we move on to the next line, and you just repeat that process. And then, you know, obviously if they run out of breath or they can't do it, then we'll split it into shorter sections as needed. But generally that's my approach, is try to get a whole line. And then, you know, if we get a take that has 80% of that line is great, then we'll just kind of punch in over it until we get it 100%. And then once we get through the whole song like that, the great thing about that workflow is you track way faster, because I hate, again, I find it's such a waste of time to have the workflow where you're like, okay, that take was great. Let's get 3 more just in case. Like, what a waste of time. What a way to tire out the singer and the vocalist. Like, I don't do that. So we'll get through the song pretty quick that way. And then I'll say, okay, come on back in the room. And then we'll just listen through the whole song. And sometimes it'll be like, okay, like maybe this one line, actually, I don't like it that much anymore. I think you could do better, because by the time we got to the end, you had a little more energy and style in your voice. So let's go back and redo those first 2 lines. We'll punch in all those spots, and that's it. And I find I can get great vocal performances and move pretty quickly through the process that way. So that's definitely a little bit of a longer explanation of my approach. Let me load up the session one more time, guys. So I won't bother trying to do this auto-tune commit thing again. Obviously, it's not working. But I think you guys get the flow there. Just loading up Pro Tools. Okay, so I think we still have the tuning.
Modern warning seem inclined to fail.
Yeah, so in this case, we could just go commit up to this insert. Selection. Now we have the fully tuned version of it. And I don't know if I didn't explain this, but I had already copied the comped playlist onto a backup playlist. So once this is tuned and printed down, boom, it goes right onto the main playlist there. We clear auto-tune, and now we've got the tuned vocal.
So strange, I remember you in protest of a prayer, falling back from seas we fear to sail. I swear I saw the shooter, gold teeth, and a double dare. Postmodern warnings seem inclined to fail.
So there we go. That's the workflow, and obviously I'm just going to have to continue on and go through the rest of that. This is the commit track that it just created there. Get rid of that. Go section by section like that. So I would do this whole chunk, commit it down, this, commit it down, this, commit it down. I'll just show you some time stretch stuff, when the timing's a little more of a challenge.
Those words, they never left your lips. Those 5 years in Bermuda slide by like the lights of passing ships.
Probably hitting the compressor a bit hard there. So I won't keep this, but before I have to sign off here, I just wanted to demo kind of how I use Elastic Audio for vocals. So let's try and fix the timing on this take here. So I'll put a cut on the waveform right there so that anything I move around here isn't going to affect what's after. And same thing right here. He gets a little rush here.
And they taste like dead cathedrals that are crumbling beneath their weight. 10,000
show you the vocals we got for the rest of the song too. Unmute. Get the ending, and we'll kind of just like I said, kind of blend and stack the end vocals here. Yeah, so that's the song, guys. I apologize for the crashes and whatnot. I did intend to get a little deeper into vocals, just finish more of the vocal editing for you. My youngest kid, he's turning 2 today, and we got a birthday party coming up in like half an hour or something. So I got a jet from here, but I think at least we covered kind of my editing workflow for cleaning up stuff from the tracking stage. And again, I hope that impresses upon you, like the fact that I'm not really messing around with stuff after we track it. Like the getting it right and getting it tight, that part is done in the tracking stage. And then obviously with vocals coming in from other people, I've got to do a little bit more cleanup manually than maybe I would if I was tracking it. But that's totally fine. I'm really happy with how the vocals are sounding so far here with the 3 different singers. So that's the tuning process, the timing, editing process, and I'll just go through that off camera here, finish tightening up all those vocals. We'll come back on and we'll basically be ready for mix. So at that point, we'll do a full mix stream and we'll mix this track. So thank you guys for hanging out again today. Any last questions here? GG, any plans to toss this up on your site for folks to take a stab at mastering? Yeah, I think I will definitely put these multi-tracks out for you guys. We'll probably put it inside the BSA Academy. So I don't know how many of you guys are part of the membership at Black Salt Audio, but we've got all my courses, all the plugins up in there. And so that makes, just in terms of where to host it and stuff like that, like we'll just throw it in there. So anyone who's part of that, you can download these multi-tracks, mix it for yourself, post it in the group, get feedback. That'd be totally cool. And I don't know, I maybe will explore a bit of whether we can release this on Spotify or something for people to listen to. That might be a cool experiment. I'm always behind the scenes, behind the glass, like working on mixes and stuff, and I send it to the band or label, and obviously they do the release stuff. I've never actually gone through that process personally of releasing and distribution platforms and stuff. So that might be worth just kind of experimenting and having fun with, and maybe we'll do some more covers like this in the future and put them out. So thanks for hanging out, guys, whether you're watching replay or watching the live stream. You guys are great. Appreciate your interest and your passion just to even watch through me here through the tedious editing parts. Even you guys are the real diehards, and you can tell that you really care about getting better at this stuff if you're tuning in for this in-depth kind of material. So take care, guys. We'll see you on the next stream. Probably it might be like 2 weeks. I got a lot of stuff going on, so I'll try to fit in the cleanups, come back for the mix. Take care, guys.